My name is Mia Rodriguez Marin. My name is Mia Rodriguez Marin, and I chose to do for my learning, building a nutritionally balanced plate, going into that nutritional theme. So why? So I chose this topic because I think it's important to support proper nutrition that further support all areas of development and growth, as well as building a healthy relationship with eating food and the proper meals to be eating. So how many times a day we're eating and what's on our plate, and then understanding healthy nutritional decisions in order to support lifelong healthy habits. These habits that are implemented in early child education or as children um, help and support our decisions as adults in the future. So my learning outcomes, hopefully you can see that, social and emotional, as well as physical, cognitive. So for social and emotional, I decided to do initiative in learning 5.1. So students showing engagement and understanding of what they're learning, facilitating new discoveries and making connections to food, nutrition, as well as touching base on these things through student-led discussions and to further their learning experiences. And then for physical, I chose manipulative skills 3.2, so using fine motor skills to organize and glue down the different foods to the different categories that make up a healthy plate and meals. This may sound kind of weird, but once I get into the activity, it'll make a lot more sense. And then cognitive, so nutrition choices 2.1. So understanding categorization and healthy eating habits, why it's important to eat healthy foods, and what makes up the nutritious meals that are on our plates. And then measuring the objectives. So in order to measure the objectives, I would measure and evaluate each child's objective by taking anecdotal notes or recordings. So this may be pictures or even audios, and then reviewing these anecdotal notes to give me an understanding of the children's comprehension of the topic, as well as what their thoughts are, what are their interests. And then throughout the learning and the lesson, so continuing to take these records, uh, well, it'll give me an understanding of whether children are making connections to the learning objectives or if something needs to be changed, as well as reviewing and looking at the outcomes of our KWHL chart and what did we add? Did we answer everything we wanted to on the discovery section of the chart? Okay, so for materials. So one of the things I chose for literacy is the book Oliver's Fruit Salad. You can find it online for a free out loud reading on YouTube. And then for the activity, some of the things we need are paper plates or large poster paper, markers, glue, paper cutouts of different foods. So this is just a step-by-step process. Feel free to read through everything if you'd like. I'm just going to touch base on a couple of things. So making sure we first address the topic. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about these things? Building our KWL charts and our anticipatory webs. And then further going into this through a story, making sure the children are engaged. And then recognizing, again, prior to starting our activity, so asking them, what do they remember about the story? How does it connect to the food we eat? And their personal experiences. And then step by step going through making sure the process of making sure we have the right supplies set, we have everything handy, having ready at hand example work, as well as then taking part in the activity and giving auditory directions to children and demonstrations. So once children are done, it's good to reflect on the activity and discuss with the class not only what they thought, but what they understood or what they found interesting. Next, so this is just a visual of what my activity would consist of. So basically, if we did have those paper plates, they would be labeled and have different colors of the different things that make up our nutritious meals. So that includes grains, dairy, protein, fruits, and veggies. And then children would have those paper cutouts and would be able to glue or somehow stick on those different foods to the different categories. And then facilitating individual needs. So we want to make sure everyone learns differently, meaning we want to teach differently to help students. So some of those individual needs can consist of, and some of my solutions. So visual learners, so using a variety of images, charts, and posters to show them what a balanced diet looks like and what are things that consist of a balanced plate. And then auditory learners, so as I mentioned, that read aloud story, having that ready for them so they can watch it, listen, as well as giving audible instructions when teaching. And then kinesthetic learners, so we're able to visualize the different food on the table, but we're also able to pick it up and see how it looks on the plate. Where are we placing it on the plate? So some modifications I would have in place are making so if children do have physical limitations, instead of having individual activities, it would be a group activity. Rather than a tiny plate, we would have a large poster paper, make it a plate, and we'd have larger pieces of food to place onto the plate um, to assess those limited movements, challenges, as well as having visual aids on hand, repeating instructions for students that may need a little bit more support. And then these are just some of my resources I used. Child Development Department, their foundations, as well as Harvard, a publication on healthy eating and nutrition, and then that's my YouTube video that I listed. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.